Namaskaram. I am Dr. M. Madhavi, consultant obstetrician gynecologist, KIMS Cuddles, Secunderabad. Dr. Veena.
Dr. Veena, neonatologist, KIMS Cuddles.
I'm Dr. Aditi. I'm neonatal consultant in KIMS Cuddles, Secunderabad.
I'm Dr. Sindhura, consultant obstetrician and consultant in high-risk pregnancies at KIMS Cuddles, Secunderabad.
So, November 17th, generally we celebrate as a World Prematurity Day. So, on this day, we'll be honoring and we'll be celebrating all those tiniest babies who are battling many battles daily in our NICUs. So, today we'll be discussing some common things and we'll be breaking some myths among the parents regarding this premature births. So, firstly, as obstetricians, how are you seeing the trend, ma'am? Incidence is increasing nowadays, preterm births are increasing. So, what do you think are the major risk factors for this rising incidence in prematurity?
So, prematurity incidence worldwide, if you take, it is about 15%. But in a hospital like ours, where it is a tertiary, rather we must say it's a quaternary level institute, so we get all the high-risk pregnancies. High-risk pregnancy means, by definition, that it has some kind of risk factor either from the maternal side or the fetal side. So coming to prematurity, a lot of risk factors from the mother's point of view contribute to prematurity. So first and foremost in this era is we have to look at age of the mother. So late marriages or planning late conceptions. So when we say late, actually by definition advanced maternal age is 35 years. So 35 and beyond, we are seeing more number of pregnancies as compared to even maybe 10 years or 15 years back. So apart from that, age again contributes to a lot of other things as pregnancy progresses, starting from spontaneous miscarriage in the first trimester itself. So when we move on into the second and third trimester in pregnancy, so fetal growth restriction, preeclampsia, that is hypertension in pregnancy, gestational diabetes, and even spontaneous preterm birth. So preterm birth which occurs without any known risk factor. So the woman goes into labor before the completion of her EDD. So when we say EDD, it is 40 weeks. So any baby that is born before 37 weeks of pregnancy is called a premature baby. And again, this is divided into early preterm and late preterm. So I think the neonatologists are better people to talk about the stages of preterm babies. So all these risk factors actually contribute to preterm delivery. We as obstetricians, the onus is on us to prevent preterm birth, but in case it occurs anyway, despite best management from the obstetric side, a premature baby is born, and we have a wonderful neonatal team who are equipped and who are able to take care of this baby. So in our practice, we have almost saved a baby who is born with as less weight as 600 grams also. So
If I could add, because of advanced age, as it is told, and they are pursuing their studies, careers, so everything is getting little delayed, and more couples are going for assisted reproductive treatments like IVF, ICSI, and there they lose little time, so it gets further delayed. And these pregnancies, not all pregnancies, they have twins and gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, rise of BP during pregnancies, and also these have added to the prematurity.
So, in OPD, when you see the patients regularly, what are the most common red flags wherein you can assume that the mother might go into a
Preterm labor.
So that you can involve a neonatologist at that point only?
So I think Dr. Veena has brought out a very interesting and important point here, that there are several predictors of preterm labor. So right from the time in the antenatal period itself, we can pick up some subtle things like this can go both ways. We have picked it up and it is there, and we have managed it, and the pregnancy is happily going forward. Or it can be like it is a false alarm. So when there is a false alarm, obviously there is an anxiety among the parents. So how to deal with this? We have something called as short cervix. So when we do a routine TIFA scan in the 5th month of pregnancy, we routinely do the cervical length in the ultrasound itself. So if it is less than 25 millimeters of length, so we term it as short cervix. So that should be picked up by the fetal medicine specialist. We have a very good fetal medicine team here to pick it up, and they come to us, the primary obstetrician. So we counsel them about the length of the short cervix, and we monitor the length. And when we find it that it is shortening, we can offer them something called progesterones. So progesterone supplements, and there is another technique also. It is called a cervical stitch or a clutch to tie the cervix and so that it supports the pregnancy. So short cervix detection is a very good predictor of preterm birth, especially the spontaneous preterm birth. And once we reach the viability period, that is around 26 to 28 weeks of gestation, we can involve the neonatologist just to make sure that the parents are aware or prepared for if at all preterm birth has to happen.
So normally we tell it as an antenatal counseling.
Yes.
Whenever a mother is getting admitted preterm and we are planning a preterm delivery, that time we are doing neonatal antenatal counseling. So what we include in that means first the duration, how many days. Normally delivery happens after 37 weeks to 40 weeks. So they will be staying for 1 to 2 days depending on if it is normal delivery or section delivery. So normally that is only they know that we will be going in 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
But whenever a premature baby is getting delivered, so they are not very aware that mother can go home after once she settles, but baby will be in ICU for a long time.
Yes.
So depending on at what gestation the delivery is happening, like 28 weeks, if delivery is happening, they will be staying almost for 1.5 months into the NICU.
Yes.
So we have to prepare them mentally, and we need to prepare them financially also, and we have to support them to the family, and we have to convey that to all the family members so that they'll get more support for the same.
Yes.
And they will be and along with this we will be preparing from the team side that if delivery is happening, we have to take care of the we have to prepare incubators and warmers, and we have to prepare the transport system. We have to keep ventilators ready and lines ready so that there will be no delay. So normally we tell it as we normally give in preterm baby surfactant, which is a protein which will help to reduce the oxygen, reduce the ventilator days in the preterm baby, and it will help for expansion of the lung and the basic things which premature babies are having, immaturity of lung. So all these things we have to prepare before. So antenatal counseling also plays a very important role.
Yes.
So this goes hand in hand, that obstetrician and neonatal team, many times we sit together and we are doing the combining counseling also for the couple. Yes.
So, Dr. Aditi, you meant like once we tell them about the emotional, so much of it is an overwhelming thing for the parents to take it.
Yes.
There's so much of emotional support required,
Yes.
financial.
Yes.
At the same time, definitely the neonatal unit and the obstetrician availability round the clock to
Yes.
make them feel safe, secure. Yes, the baby will be looked after well,
Yes.
which requires lot of multidisciplinary approach,
Yes.
and that is how we deal with the preterm deliveries.
Yes.
And to add one more thing, if a woman comes with lot of white discharge, as you said, what are the red flags? I would like to add, if she comes with off and on pain or white discharge, we usually take a vaginal swab to make sure is there any infection, or prophylactic antibiotic is given to prevent any sort of infections and all.
So here, ma'am, I want to ask you one more question regarding the steroids in mothers who you are suspecting of preterm delivery, and magnesium sulfate. So what is their role? Can you just explain on that?
So steroids, most of the time we give around 28 to 30 weeks, which protects the baby and it prevents the neonatal stay in case the baby is prematurely born. So the stay in the NICU, and they after delivery they do very well, and that is what we have dealt with. And see, I've been practicing for quite some time. Initially the deliveries were dealt by pediatricians in
Yes.
those era. Now we have excellent set of team of neonatologists, I would say, who are so well versed with where every minute of the hour is what they call it as a golden hour.
Golden hour.
Yes. So that part is so well managed in our KIMS Cuddle Secunderabad hospital is a real boon and blessing to our team. I can
And
say
as a
that. Yeah.
neonatologist, I would like to stress nowadays the outcomes have changed in a very
Yeah.
positive way. So if a baby is born about 34 weeks, it's like a term baby only. The outcomes are very good. It's almost a 99 to 100% baby will survive normally. Generally, parents might be thinking that if my baby is born prematurely, the outcomes might not be very good.
Yes.
Neurodevelopmentally, baby might not do well.
Yes.
So that perception has to change in parents. So even though they are going to deliver prematurely also, only if the baby is extremely premature, like less than 28 weeks, 26, 27 weeks, the survival rates are little less. But beyond 28 and beyond 30 weeks, the survival rates have changed drastically and in a positive manner. And many newer ventilation strategies have come. And neurodevelopmentally supportive care has been increasing in the ICUs recently. And we have milk banks, so we are giving exclusively mother's milk only to the baby. So MECs have come down. So the outcomes are really good in prematurely. So even if the mothers are going to deliver prematurely, it's always a teamwork. We as obstetricians and the neonatologists, we are here to work together, take care of your babies, and they will do very good in ICUs.
Yeah, so actually from the obstetric point of view, like when we talk to the mothers, what I understand is nobody wants to deliver prior to the dates, or like rather less than 37 weeks. So when we are counseling, the moment we tell them that you may have a chance of having a preterm birth, obviously they are in a state of anxiety, or they may even panic or be shocked. Most of the times in my practice, I try to assess the condition, and I try to take the pregnancy as long as, like Dr. Veena said, 34 weeks is as good as term when it comes to the outcomes of the baby. But also it doesn't mean that deliberately I want to deliver a preterm baby. So, but I will try to take the pregnancy as long as possible. So, for example, I'd like to mention a pregnancy that we have managed very recently as a team. So, this woman came to us at 27 weeks with severe blood pressure. It was a hypertensive emergency, and in this situation, we had to stabilize the mother first. So, we have stabilized the mother, and when we assessed the baby was doing well for 27 weeks. So normally what happens is, in such a situation, there can be a situation where we have to deliver the mother. But fortunately for her, for the mother, she got stabilized, and successfully we could take this pregnancy up to 34 weeks. So 6 to 7 weeks of interval period we could give her through careful monitoring as a team. So, and then she delivered her baby at 34 weeks. Although baby was very much growth restricted for that gestation, it was 1.4 kg baby, and this baby, like Dr. Aditi said, had to stay in ICU for quite some time to come to a point where baby is able to sustain on its own with the mother, and then successfully the baby was discharged, and then we had a happy family there in this case. So outcomes have definitely improved, yes. I think that grey zone is that period of viability, like around 26 to 28 weeks, where the decisions become difficult, and we cannot offer 100% hope, but it is not zero either. We do have a lot of advancing hope for even this intermediate viable period. But after 28 weeks, I think we can almost, it's nearly 100% of survival plus good neurodevelopmental
outcome also. So it is not only about the survival of the baby, it is about the intact neurodevelopmental outcome also. and with the eyes and all, we are doing the ROP also for the babies, retinopathy of prematurity, so that they will have the good vision in future also. So we normally less than 34 and less than 34 weeks we are doing for all newborn babies in our institute.
So what I'd like to tell people who are delivering around the late preterm age, even 34 weeks, people are really anxious. So I'd like to give you a lot of hope, saying
Yes.
that 34 weeks is as good as term. Your baby will be nearly 100%
Survival
fine.
will be there.
So NICU stay is not a bad thing. It is actually doing excellent things for your baby. It is beneficial because baby is being taken care of very well in the NICU.
In post delivery, we even when we go on rounds, so the first question the parents or the mother throws to us is, how is my baby doing?
Yes.
So for this issue also we have a proper, good
Channel.
communication with the neonatologist. So that facility also is, has made it. So communicating more and more with the mother and within the department and giving the clear picture to the patient.
Yes.
And rather, we also get the mother to the NICU where
Yes.
she can just walk up to the baby, hold the baby. She feels more confident about that. Yes, my mother, the baby is doing so well, and that really makes us, deal with the situation in a more positive way. And baby also gets mother's vibrations and the emotional
so we
attachment.
are giving once baby stabilizes, and we are reducing the oxygen support. So we are starting this kangaroo mother care also, which is helping for mothers to improve their milk output, and babies will also get the skin to skin touch, and they will be able to maintain their own temperature, and all the bonding will increase. So lot of benefits are there. So we are doing here kangaroo mother care also.
It's a very complex journey. Almost for 2 months or so, parents will be staying in your NICU.
Yes.
So there will be a daily counseling to them.
Yeah.
So they'll be asking many queries regarding their babies every day about their long-term outcomes also. So yes, at once need not the baby. They will not wait till the baby come out of support also. Even on respiratory supports also, we will start kangaroo mother care.
Yes.
So that mothers will be staying very close to their tiny little ones, so that they will not feel anxious.
Dr. Veena, can you tell something about the milk bank, which is a new term which we are hearing nowadays?
So we have this human milk banks associated with our NICUs. So we are also starting human milk bank here at our KIMS Kadal Secunderabad unit. So in these human milk banks, we'll be collecting milk from all the donor mothers who are producing adequate quantity of the milk. We'll collect it in a sterile manner. The milk will be stored properly and it will be pasteurized, sterilized, and then again stored and given to the babies in our unit, as well as we can supply it to the other units where the little babies need it. Because this formula can never replace mother's own milk, and it is the first best thing which we can provide to the little ones.
I think we have to underline this point multiple times.
Mother
and
own
reiterate
milk
it
is
to
only.
everybody.
Yes.
Own milk is only the best for the babies, and if for preterm babies, if mother own milk is not available, then we can use this donor milk.
So this milk can be used for only premature or term babies, or anyone, any of the babies
Ma'am,
can.
definitely there is a difference between milk of premature mother and a term mother. The
Mhm.
protein quantity will be high in preterm milk.
No.
But again, if we collect milk from preterm mothers, so that can be selectively given to preterm babies, but that simultaneously that can be given to term babies as well.
Okay. So you follow some guidelines and
Yes.
all that. Yes, this milk is now ready to be dispensed or
yes, ma'am.
to be given to a mother. So
Yes.
you follow all those
There
guidelines,
is
which
a
I would like to.
protocol wherein we collect from mothers, we sterilize it, we pasteurize it, and then we collect it back, store it at a proper temperature, and then we tag it the day of collection, and then only we give it to the babies.
So, Dr. Aditi, I want to ask one more question. What are the commonly anticipated problems in a preterm baby in general? So, a lot of parents they are unaware, and as I said, they are not prepared to have a preterm birth.
So most common issues means, because it is a premature baby, so their brain their lungs, their kidneys, their stomach, everything is immature. So if we start from the brain, so there is sometimes some babies will have bleeding in the brain. So we call it as IVH. So if, but it is very rare because we are taking measures which will prevent, we are using the ventilation strategies which will reduce the IVH chances. And complications mostly we are facing like respiratory problem. Initially their lung will not open up properly because of the immaturity of the lungs. They will be requiring the ventilators and CPAP support, which we commonly use in the preterm babies. And then second most common thing which we are observing is feed intolerance, like their digestion capacity is not that much. So in preterm babies we follow some protocols of increasing the feeding. Initially we start with the minimal feed and then we keep on increasing. We are having protocols for that. So accordingly, if baby is tolerating, we keep on increasing and we reduce the IV fluids and all. So these are the most common issues which they are facing. Other than that, many things like because their kidney is not very mature, so they will have the high urine output. But that all things can be taken care of. So yeah, so these are the common issues in the premature baby.
So the next commonest query people ask when they are leaving from NICU, when they are taking their babies home is the care, how the baby needs to be cared. Is it same as a term baby or is it something different from a term baby?
Yeah.
So the most important thing is again temperature maintenance, covering the baby properly, because hypothermia will again make the baby not to gain weight well. So covering the baby well, and scheduled feeds need to be given. If it is a term baby, we can demand feed the baby. Like when the baby cries, mother can feed. Otherwise, they can give a gap of at least 3 to 4 hours without hesitation. But when it comes to a premature baby, like less than 2 kilos baby, the scheduled feeding should be done. Like minimum of 10 feeds should be given per day. And the minimum amount of feed what we tell them at the time of discharge should be properly done. Because they don't have that stores to maintain that glucose level, so they might go into hypoglycemia and they might come back to ICUs, which will turn out to be done.
I want to add one more thing. At the time of discharge, they'll be asking regarding the vaccination of their babies. So normally 1.8 is the discharge criteria for our unit. So we vaccinate the baby, only OPV and BCG we give that time. After 2 kg, once they are gaining, when they are coming for OPD follow-up, that time we are giving hepatitis B. And then the next schedule, like 6 weeks, 10 weeks, that can be followed. If baby is premature, we can correct the age and then we can follow the vaccination. So, and especially flu vaccines, basically we have to give to the premature baby every year, so that the respiratory issues which commonly seen in the premature baby because of their low immunity, so it can be prevented with the flu vaccines, so that can be taken care of.
So coming to flu vaccine, actually in the antenatal period itself, we are recommending to give a flu vaccine to the mother, 1 dose at any gestation in the pregnancy. So it is protective for the mother and to some extent to the baby also. Despite that, I think
But we have to give to the baby.
The baby also.
Okay, so it was nice, comprehensive.
Yes.
You know, we got to know so much about the preterm babies. So I just request that do not be afraid about any prematurity, preterm births. There is enough scope, whatever we can do to the newborn who is a preterm, and you know, with to give the child a better journey and a healthy life forward. Thank you, Dr. Veena. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
ma'am.
Aditi. Thank you, Dr. Sindhura.
So every baby is different. So it cannot be compared with the journey of some other mother or baby. So everyone is unique. So you should be confident about your own journey and your own baby.
Namaskaram.
Namaste.
Thank you.